Okay, here's your sample problems prior to doing your homework, just for a little extra practice, just in case you didn't really understand my pre-lesson too well. I might have been in a little hurry, especially towards the end, but let's just dive right in. I've chosen 4 sample problems from your textbook, page 45, number 9, 10, 18, 22. Now notice 9, 10, and 22 are all equals, and number 18 is an inequality. So I'm going to do number 18 last. Let's concentrate on number 9 a second. If I'm on a test and it says find x, are you kidding me? There's no way I'm going to decimals. I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides, multiply both sides by -1, and just solve. Just old school little basic algebra, two-stepper. But just to show you what's going on, we're going to show you what's up, okay? So we're going to type in negative x plus 4. So that's the left-hand side. So y equals that left-hand side. For some reason, Desmos is not accepting this equation when I type in just the 2. So y equals 2. It wasn't working a second ago. Let's see if it magically, no, it didn't. So we need to know something about, again, this is not how we would do this problem. But if this represents y equals 2, it's going to be, let me actually zoom in here. Y equals 2 is a horizontal line that just cruises just like this, and it crosses the y-axis right at 2, and then it would hit right here. So let's not get confused here. The problem wants x. So if you solved it by hand, you'd get 2. Why? Because this point right here, where my cursor is, x would be 2. That's where this horizontal line would cross paths with that one right there, right there. So my x value would be 2. All right. Let's go to one of these where Desmos is actually helpful, talking about number 10. So y equals the left side, y equals the right side. Let's find out where they intersect. Whole different way of doing this. So to do absolute values, we better go to our keyboard, type that in, and we get x minus 4. And then on these, when there's more stuff to type in, you got to finish off that absolute value. And then minus 4 would look like that. Get rid of that keyboard, on to the next one. The right-hand side is 1/2 x. I'm just going to put 0.5 x, the same thing. All right, now I see that there might be 2 places where they intersect, and they are. Again, I can't emphasize this enough. Number 10 only has x's, so don't let your brain wander to the y's. So where are the x's? Well, the first one would be right here. It would cross at 0. My x is 0. And they intersect right here. The other x is 16. So those would be my 2 answers, 0 and 16. Okay, let's actually move on to my number 22 example. So now we got a trinomial in the mix. But if I just type in the left-hand side, without screwing up hopefully, x squared. Now at this point, make sure to hit the right arrow because you don't want to stay up in that exponent. Minus 8x plus 5. And there's that graph. Underneath that is y equals x plus 3. So x plus 3. Okay, where do these intersect? Again, only finding x's. Hover right here. 0.228 is my first x. 8.772 is my second x. It's that easy, you guys. Okay, now for the inequality. We have to really use our noggin here. So number 18 is just saying where is x squared plus 2x minus 8, where is it less than, here's the key, or equal to 0. Don't forget the or equals. So what we want to do is graph that. It's going to be a parabola because you can see it's x squared. And we got to find out where that graph is below the x-axis. That's what this is asking us. So without further ado, let's type it in correctly. X squared, hit the right arrow, plus 2x minus 8. And there's the graph, okay? Now again, I can't emphasize this enough. It says is less than or equal to 0, which means where is it below the x-axis? Well, on the graph here, follow my cursor, it's below the x-axis all the way through here, and we need to talk domain because the problem is all about x. So -4 is where it's, remember, or equals 0. So it's at 0 there, and all these other numbers are negative, and that's what this problem's really wanting. So we're going to go and put our cursor right here. Where does this graph begin to go below the x-axis and on the x-axis? Right there at -4. So it's going to be bracket -4, and it continues through all of these x's, below, below, below. See that right there? And then finally stops right here. It's right on top of the x-axis, which is okay. And that would be our right-hand side of our domain. So that'd be 2 bracket. So our final answer would look something like this. And so here's the answer right there. That's what it would look like, okay? The domain or the graph is underneath the x-axis, right here, okay? From -2, what in the world? -4, all right. There's a big old mistake. Glad I checked it. So there's my answer, -4 to 2. There you go. Now I'm going to pause this and shake things up just a little bit to make sure we're not losing you. So here's a what if question. What if on the original problem, instead of less than or equal to 0, which means below or on the x-axis, I flip the inequality and it's greater than or equal to 0. That means where is this graph? On the x-axis or above the x-axis, greater than or equal to 0. What x's give us that result? Well, if we look at the drawing, you can see, zoom out a little bit. So from here, -4 up, everything is above the x-axis. Now, how do I explain that domain right there? I explain the domain because this thing just keeps going wider and wider and wider and wider. Remember, we're talking about the x is really the whole focal point of this problem. It's from -infinity all the way to that point, and it's also including that point. So that answer, I'm just going to say it, is parentheses, -infinity, comma, -4, bracket. I'll show it to you in a second, but it includes that point. This is all below the x-axis, so we don't want that as part of our answer because this example says where are things greater than or equal to 0. And it's also above or equal to 0 from this point, 2, so it's bracket 2, and it goes this way forever above the x-axis. So all these x's this way force the graph to be above the x-axis. So that would be from bracket 2, comma, infinity, parentheses. And that would be your answer right there. Okay, that's it for your sample problems. Your actual homework problems are exactly like this, so good luck.